What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my board for my Week 8 Stardom Sit-em quarterbacks here, guys. And what I always do here at the beginning is give you a moment to clip these pictures, take a screenshot, get your phone out, take a picture of this, especially if you do pick'ems or DFS, stuff like that. This is great information from my guy, Big Draft Energy. I will have him linked in the description of the video as well. So shout out to him. Make sure you go smash him a follow. Co-host on my show. Does tons of work behind the scenes to help me out, guys, and I'll drop his YouTube at the end as well here. Now, these are the quarterback touchdowns with the most advantageous matchups here for Week 8. So these are the defenses that give up the most touchdowns. So obviously Jacksonville's defense, like I've been saying for weeks, is the worst defense in the NFL. You see Anthony Richardson at the top, right? Interesting there enough. Houston's number 2. So capture this, guys. I'm going to go through 3 of these tweets here. This is some information I use as well throughout the video. So moving on here, this is quarterbacks with the most advantageous matchups for passing yards. Crazy enough, Jameis Winston comes off the waiver wire and gets the number 1 matchup for passing yards against the Baltimore Ravens' bad defense. Matt Stafford, also Minnesota, gives him a ton of yards. Jacksonville again. So you see why I love Jordan Love so much this week. And now we're going to go to the last one here. This is the most advantageous matchup for passing completions. Who you see at the top? Matt Stafford, Jameis Winston, Jordan Love again. All great matchups for these guys. This is why I'm going to get into them here when we get to it in the video. But these are the things you should take a screenshot again, take your phone out, take a picture, go to Big Draft Headquarters or Big Draft Energy on Twitter and YouTube. Smash my guy I follow. It does amazing work, guys. Now, we're heading into an all systems green here game in this Rams-Vikings game here Thursday night come tomorrow. These are 2 defenses that really struggle here. And I'm okay starting both these quarterbacks. So if I'm looking at Sam Darnold, obviously we don't know if TJ Hawkins is going to be out there yet. I haven't seen the update. He's practiced twice here back-to-back. He practiced last week too. So if he's out there, would be limited, but the matchup would be great for him versus the Rams. It would really help Sam Darnold, right? But the LA Rams versus the QB rank 16th. They give up 15.2 points per game. They rank 11th in the red zone, or 9th in the red zone, and 11th on the season. Now, it's a different beast, though. So I look at it like, yeah, they might be ranked as a top 13 to 12 defense here, but you get Jennings, you get Addison, you get Aaron Jones, you get Hawkinson out there. It's kind of a matchup-proof offense. If I'm looking at great defenses, yeah, they can stop them a little bit, but not enough for me to be worried about it. And when you're looking at the Rams versus the pass as well, they're also number 12 versus the wide receiver on the season. Now, over to the Rams side, Matt Stafford. Looks like he's getting Cooper Kupp back. Looks like there's no Cooper Kupp trade happening. Great matchup to be part of here, guys. The Minnesota Vikings rank 32nd versus the wide receiver on the season, giving up 44 points per game. They also give up 203 yards just to the wide receiver position. That is second worst in the NFL. And like you saw from the beginning, completions, Matt Stafford should absolutely rack up the completions against the Minnesota Vikings because their strength is the run game. And it looks like we'll get Puka Nacua back here. And the Rams may fight to save this season. There was a couple trade rumors for Stafford to the Vikings or Cooper Kupp to the Chiefs. It looks like DeAndre Hopkins is going there. And, you know, you're going to get your team back and they're going to fight for this playoff spot. I know that's what's going to happen. And I hope the Rams win this game so it really does happen. Heading over to the Panthers-Broncos game this week, and Andy Dalton coming off a negative point performance in a very plus matchup versus the Commanders last week. And I think they might start to turn back to, that's Sam Darnold. I put the wrong one up. They might even turn back to Bryce Young here at this point, which is going to be really rough. But the Denver Broncos defense, guys, ranks 3rd versus the quarterback. In my opinion, they're the number 1 defense in the NFL. They get Patrick Surtain back this week off the concussion as well. So Deontay Johnson's in for a shadow nightmare. They give up only 12 points a game to the quarterback. They give up the 4th most points on the season, and they rank 4th in the red zone. So it is a top 4 defense all the way around. And they only give up 193 yards to the wide receiver position, which is top 5, or to the quarterback, which is top 5 as well. So I don't like anything here from the Panthers in this game. And the Broncos are kind of riding high right now. So even when I look at Bo Nix, right, this is the first time I'm ever even going to have Bo Nix out of a red bar. He's starting to find a little groove. and he's using them legs, man. He's running all over the place. I know there's not a lot of weapons, but the Carolina defense is your fantasy football pot of gold, right? They rank 29th versus the quarterback, get up 19 points a game, so you have a great spot start here if you need it. They rank 29th on the season, 21st in the red zone, and they're terrible versus the run and versus the pass. The only reason I don't have them in a full green here is because the past couple weeks in my videos, I've been saying that Carolina just gets thrashed by the run. So Bijan killed them. I mean, the Javonte Williams is going to be the smash play here. And with how good this Bronco defense is, this could be a game where it gets away and Javonte Williams and McLaughlin, and you see some Esteve in there, just pound the run on him because the Panthers just cannot stop the run. So that's the only reason I don't have him full green. He is a great, if you need a dart throw play, it could be a good play here, especially with his rushing upside, but I don't love it as a full green start yet, just because the Panthers struggle to stop the run so much this year. Moving on to the Saints and Chargers. Chargers coming off that ugly loss, man, to the Arizona Cardinals. Couple bad calls we could really talk about, but the game is over. They got the loss. Now they get the New Orleans Saints coming into town, and Derek Carr is fighting to play this game, but I'm not going to put him as a start either way on his first game back, or Spencer Rattler, who has just looked absolutely like a deer in the headlights as a rookie out there. But you've lost Shaheed. The offensive line is decimated. They did just give Kamara an extension. They will get Olave back, but you get the Chargers. The Chargers defense is very good versus the pass, very good versus the run. They're top 10 in both. They struggle versus the tight end, and the Saints don't even use their tight end, really. So when I look at the Chargers defense, they rank 10th versus the quarterback, so a top 10 defense there, giving up 14 points. 6th on the season versus the quarterback, 8th in the red zone, so it's pretty much a top 8 defense all the way around versus the quarterback position. And I don't like the Saints on the road with Carr. Even if Carr comes back early and plays this game, I don't like Carr as a start or Rattler as a start in this game. Now, to the Herbert side, he finally passed for 300 yards, right? What the hell happened there? I didn't think that would happen all year long, but now you get the Saints. Saints defense is very good versus the quarterback and wide receiver, guys. They rank 7th on the season versus the quarterback, or 7th in points per game at 13.5, 13 on the season with not only 94 points allowed, and they're 5th in the red zone. So it's pretty much a top, I'd say 8 to 10 defense all the way around versus the quarterback. They give up 204 passing yards as well, which is bottom 10 in the NFL as well. So, this is going to be more of a game where defensive battle here, kind of. I don't see a lot of points flying in this game, kind of like the Arizona Cardinals game on Monday Night Football. Should be a low scoring field goal. Whoever gets better field position, two good defenses going at it. Maybe Quentin Johnston makes it back out there for the Chargers, but I still think it's going to be more of a J.K. Dobbins game here. The big Sunday night football game, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott are headed in to take on the 49ers. Man, I cannot wait for this game. This is going to be an all systems green game here as well. So the Cowboys coming off the bye here, getting a little fresher on defense, getting a little healthy, probably getting Micah Parsons back. Brandon Cook still out on IR, but Tolbert has been stepping up. They get the 49ers defense, which is still missing Hufanga, which is a big piece in the secondary. So the top could be able to be popped off by CeeDee Lamb, but he'll still be drawing Tre'Davious Ward probably 55% of the time. He shadows one side of the field very well. But the 49ers defense currently ranks 12th versus the quarterback, giving up 14.7, 17th on the season, and 11th in the red zone. So about a 13 to 14 defense overall versus the quarterback, 234 yards passing, middle of the tier there. But I see this game as a massive shootout, guys. Like, I know that it doesn't look like it on paper with all the injuries that the 49ers have. And we don't even know if Debo's going to be out there. If Debo's not out there, it's really, really going to hurt the 49ers. So just out of the hospital, the update was, couple minutes ago, I just saw the status is still unknown for the game. But the spread is still 46.5. So people still think, for Vegas and the odds makers still think it's going to be a high-scoring game, as well do I, even if Debo's not out there. On to the Purdy side. Purdy's still a start for me. The Dallas Cowboys are very bad at stopping the quarterback for points, guys. They rank 28th on the season, giving up 19 points a game. They rank 22nd overall in the season and 20th in the red zone. So this defense hasn't been able to stop really much this year. They rank 226.5 yards per passing yards per game as well. And even if you look at Diggs, right, coming off the injury, Diggs, the star corner, it looks slower. He doesn't look the same. The injuries got him hampered up. They don't have Deron Bland back off IR either. They still have Lawrence out from the D-line as well from the injuries. And there's just injuries all across the board in this game. So it's going to be one of those weird injured games, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I like both these quarterbacks as starts this week. Somehow undefeated 6-0 Kansas City Chiefs are headed into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders in a division game here. And I have not had Patrick Mahomes, guys, on a start all year long, right? I know he hasn't scored over 20 fantasy points. You guys thought I was crazy. Every single week is hit. He's been under his projection. This is the week I'm going to say that you smash start Patrick Mahomes, right? And you can say the Raiders are good versus the wide receiver. They're good versus the tight end. Their weak spot is the running back. You could say it's a Kareem Hunt game. I see that as well here. But you saw what happened this morning. If you have seen the update, they have added DeAndre Hopkins with the injuries to Rashee Rice, with the injuries to Hollywood Brown, to go along with Xavier Worthy to pop the top off, to go along with Travis Kelce, who's going to draw most of the attention. What an addition for a 5th-round pick that could be a potential 4th-round pick. DeAndre Hopkins' value just skyrocketed to the moon. So did Patrick Mahomes a little bit. And man, this is going to be one of those games where it's just an absolute cakewalk game for the Chiefs. The Raiders, Gardner Minshew, now the quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, is on the IR with the broken thumb. Doesn't even matter if he's out there. This Kansas City Chiefs defense is absolutely lights out versus the quarterback, versus the running back, versus the wide receiver. They've been good all year long. So they still give up 16 points to the quarterback, ranking 20th, 14th on the season overall, 19th in the red zone. So it is a, I'll say, top 14 to 15 defense all around versus the quarterback. But that's because they get rushing yards put on them. It's not because the wide receivers are blowing out. Kansas City is very good versus the run. They're number one versus the run. They're decent versus the wide receiver as well. Let me pull up my chart here as midstream as we're going at it. Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs is number 4 versus the wide receiver, and they're number 1 versus the running back. So I don't find it as, the defensive rankings versus the quarterbacks that are there. Now you have the Raiders with no Devontae Adams, traded out of town. Jacoby Myers, we don't know if he's playing. It's absolute shambles. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything. The team is selling pieces for the future. It is over in Vegas, and this Chiefs defense is going to stomp them out. But I am okay with a Patrick Mahomes start this week. Oh boy, one of the games I cannot wait to watch this week. The Buffalo Bills at 5-2 are headed in to take on the 4-3 Seattle Seahawks at the 12th man. And this game, I feel like is going to be a shootout game, guys. I know that DK Metcalf is going to mean a lot here. So the updates for him right now, if you guys are wondering, fantasy football is he's week to week. Today's practice. This is Wednesday morning. It's 7:30 a.m. here in California, so I'm not going to see the updates here for a minute. But if I ever have a player that I think ever could make it through an injury with a week-to-week injury and fight through it to help his team for the season, it would be DK Metcalf. This man was built in a lab. So make sure you're paying attention to the updates there. But the game still has a 47.5 over-under, so I don't know if they're predicting him to be out there with that line. Anyways, it's a super high line. But when I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills here, what do? They acquire Amari Cooper. Absolutely what they needed as a wide receiver. One, you get the Seattle Seahawks defense. And if you guys are been to my channel before, you know that I've said that the Seattle Seahawks defense is a fraud to me. I never bought their high wide receiver numbers, high running back numbers, because they got those first 3 easy games. They got Bo Nix in his first game. They got Skylar Thompson. They got Jacoby Brissett. So their defense was already ranked out like a top 5 to 7 defense because they got 3 cakewalk games. So they finally got their win last week. That was a big win for them. But now they're getting a real test here with Josh Allen. And the Seattle Seahawks defense versus the quarterback ranks 19th, giving up 16 points a game. They rank 21st on the season and 22nd in the red zone. So against the quarterback, this is going to be a Josh Allen smash game here. Now, heading to the Seattle side, Geno Smith has been a model of consistency as a quarterback, right? So I'm still going to put him in green. I mean, he just gives you 17, 18 fantasy points. The Buffalo Bills defense, though, their corners are phenomenal, guys. They have 3 corners that rank in the top 12 PFF ranking at their position. And if there's no DK Metcalf out there, I would say that Geno's probably going to be more of a yellow for me than a green. But again, this is an early Wednesday video. So I'm just going to say that I think DK is going to play like a crazy freak of nature human, right? But Buffalo ranks 9th versus the quarterback, giving up 14 points. They rank 15th on the season and 15th in the red zone, and they have up 226 pass yards a game. But they don't give up touchdowns. So if they don't have DK Metcalf out there, I'm going to drop Geno to yellow here, guys. Man, oh man, we got to talk about the Falcons Bucks. I feel so bad for Baker Mayfield and the Bucks right now. I was so high on Chris Godwin. God, that play at the end of the game killed me, man. But we got to talk about the game here. So Kirk Cousins, I'm going to put Kirk Cousins on another start here. I had him on a start for Seattle last week, and it just didn't happen. He only got 9 fantasy points last week. In Seattle, like we just talked about, right, with their defense, is a defense that averages 16 points for the quarterback. So it's kind of an aberration game there for them. I know that Bijan went nuts. It's good to see Bijan getting the role now. But you get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, guys. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers now have no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. Mike Evans out till week 11. Chris Godwin looked like the season is over. And Tampa Bay ranks 31st versus the quarterback, giving up 22 points. They rank 31st on the season with 154 points to the quarterback. And they rank 32nd in the red zone. Kirk Cousins is going to be an absolute smash start this week. The only thing that I would get worried about here in this game with Kirk Cousins is how is Tampa's offense going to look without their two superstars? Are they going to be able to move the ball? Falcons' run D is very good, so you're going to have, a possible Rachaad White. Well, I didn't think Rachaad White would do what he did last week either, but he did in garbage time, kind of. But are they going to be able to pass the ball here? If they can't, then this could be just a full Bijan, Tyler Algier, run him over game, which that would worry me if Kirk doesn't get his points early. But I'm still going to put Kirk as a start here. Baker Mayfield, I'm going to put as a start. And it sounds crazy to say. The Atlanta Falcons ranked 24th versus the quarterback of 17 points. They ranked 19th in the 19th in the seasons and 30th in the red zone. They gave up 203 yards. But here's the thing. Like that game last week, Baker Mayfield can catch fire in garbage time. And I honestly, truly believe that he will beat his projection in this game alone in garbage time. He still has that Oklahoma connection with Sterling Shepard. You're going to get the rookie Jalen McMillan out there. Probably see a little bit of Trey Palmer. And the run game's not going to be really relevant. And Kate Otten's stock has now shot up. And I just have this weird feeling that Baker Mayfield's still going to be a start this week. I don't love it in any way. He's one of my kind of dart throw plays here, especially when you're missing your superstars. But I think it can be done to beat his projection in a game that I think is going to be high scoring. And they're going to have to play garbage time to catch up. And if you watch the game on Monday Night Football, they played garbage time and dominated. And they kept their starters out there, which may cost them their season. So I'm still okay with starting Baker Mayfield, even though that they're not out there this week. We are just getting all system green game nonstop. So the Cleveland Browns are going to be hosting the Baltimore Ravens. You're going to have a new quarterback in town for Cleveland. We got to talk about the Ravens first. Lamar Jackson, the number one player in fantasy football. I don't care what the defense is. I don't care what the matchup is. I don't even need to talk about it. Lamar Jackson is always a start, but I'll give it to you short here anyways. Cleveland Brown ranks 15th versus the quarterback, 18th on the season, and 3rd in the red zone. But I throw all those numbers out the window. The RPO with Henry is impossible to stop for teams right now since they switched their scheme of the offense after losing the first 2 games of the season. They've won 4 straight. They're scoring 30 points a game. Zay Flowers didn't even have a game last week, and they still balled out. Rashad Bateman popped off. Mark Andrews is back. This is a nightmare with Derrick Henry for defensive coordinators and every team to face. And, man, Lamar Jackson's value is just insane through the roof in fantasy football. Now, Jameis Winston. You can start Jameis Winston this week, guys. I know when you look at it, you think Baltimore Ravens, and you instantly think of the defense 5-6 years ago where it's absolutely phenomenal. The Ravens are really, really bad versus the quarterback and wide receiver, guys. You have to hear these numbers right now, right? So versus the quarterback, they allow 21 points a game. They allow 147 points on the season, which ranks 30th. Both those rank 30th. In the red zone, they rank 26th. They give up, guys, 308 pass yards a game, the worst in the NFL. So I know Jameis Winston is that gunslinger. I know he's going to take the shots, probably throw a couple picks. That's what he does. He's like the Brett Favre, I'll go for it all player. But you get Nick Chubb back, should see a little more work. He found the end zone last week. You got Jerry Jeudy. As soon as Jameis Winston came in, he targeted Jerry Jeudy at a very high rate. When DTR was out there, he did not. And now you're going to see Njoku get more targets. They're very weak versus the tight end. They're very weak versus the wide receiver. They rank 30th versus the wide receiver, 32nd on the year versus the wide receiver, and 31st on the season versus the wide receiver. So if Jameis Winston is on your wire and you have a QB decision, this is a great plug and play. You better be starting with Superflex for sure, because the Ravens defense is just a run-stopping defense. Even though somehow the Bucks, got a ton of yards on them on the ground. The first team to rush over 60 yards on them all year long, which is insane. They're weak versus the pass. So I'm okay throwing Jameis Winston out there in a game where he could pop 20. The Chicago Bears coming off the bye are heading in to face the Commanders, who will probably be led by a new quarterback, but we have to talk about Caleb Williams first, the guy who was on my buy low since week 4, the guy who was on my smash starts the past 2 weeks before the bye. The offense is starting to click with the Bears. The schedule has been absolutely beautiful. You get the Washington Commanders defense versus the quarterback, guys. They rank 18th. They give up 16 points a game. They rank 20th on the year. They rank 18th in the red zone as well, and they allow 212 pass yards, which is about a bottom 12 to 15 defense versus the pass yards. And in this game, you're probably going to have no Jaden Daniels. You're probably going to have Marcus Mariota out there, right? So I know he came in versus the Panthers. He actually targeted Terry McLaurin at a higher rate than JD5 did, which was insane to me. But you get the Bears defense for Marcus Mariota. I don't like this in any single way, shape, or form. The Bears defense is probably my second ranked defense on the season behind the Broncos. They were missing Brisker. They get Brisker back. They're about to get healthy off the bye. And man, this is going to be all systems go blitz packages for Marcus Mariota, and he's going to be running for his life in this game. I'm not even going to I will read the Bears breakdown for you. The Bears rank second versus the QB. 9 points allowed in the season. You're not starting Marcus Mariota. 55 points in total on the season. That's second. Second in the red zone. This is a top 2 defense, guys. That's what I'm telling you about the Bears. No. And they've been beat up on the year, and they're getting healthy. This defense is just going to come out firing. One of the uglier games of the week, the Tennessee Titans, who just traded away DeAndre Hopkins, are headed in to face the Detroit Lions, and it looks like Will Levis is going to be getting the starting job, and I am going to go no start on him probably for the rest of the year. They get the Detroit Lions defense. They rank 13th versus the quarterback, giving them 15 points a game. They rank 8th on the season and 7th in the red zone, so pretty much a top 10 defense all around versus the quarterback. 264 yards. They do give up a ton of yards to the wide receiver, but not a lot of touchdowns as well here. And Calvin Ridley's looked like an absolute shell of himself. Chega Okonkwo has done nothing. It's really going to hurt Tony Pollard, who I tried to tell you guys to sell high like 2 weeks ago, so I hope you listen there. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse for the Titans here. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. So I'm going to definitely sit on Will Levis. Now to the Jared Goff side, I know he's on fire, guys. Absolutely on fire. 3 games in a row, balling out. Probably the QB1 over the last 3 weeks, right? If you combine them all together. I don't know that, but I'd be willing to bet on it. And when you're getting the Tennessee Titans in this game, why I have Jared Goff on a not a smash start, not a smash sit in the yellow, is because the Tennessee Titans are number 1 versus the wide receiver. They are number 1 in yards per game allowed passing. I mean, they give up. Well, they've dropped. So they used to be number 1. They've dropped now to number 5 at 124.8 yards per game to the wide receiver position. They're very good versus the running back as well. So when I'm looking at the Tennessee Titan defense here, they're also number 11 versus the running back, and they're number 5 versus the quarterback. So it's pretty much, average it out, top 7 to 8 defense all around here. And it could be one of those games that just gets away here. The Lions just blow them out. You see Jahmyr Gibbs, you see David Montgomery, you see them just pounding the clock out. I know there's Jamison Williams with the 2-game suspension. Hopefully they get Laporta involved here. We'll get to that in my tight end start him, sit him. But I don't really like Jared Goff this week. Tennessee Titans have been really good versus the quarterback, and it's going to be one of those ugly games where there's not a lot of passing, in my opinion, and they just pound the clock out and end the game. Russell Wilson and the Steelers will be hosting Danny Dimes on Monday Night Football. Run for your life, Daniel Jones. He got the starting job. Oh, man. I think this is probably going to be his last game starting. Hate to say it. You're probably going to see Drew Lock or some Tommy DeVito here coming down the stretch. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense, guys, is lights out. They're number 4 versus the quarterback on the year, allowing 12 points. Number 5 on the number 5 total on the season. Number 10 in the red zone. They give up 234.9 pass yards per game. But that was kind of because of garbage time last week. So, I mean, Russell Wilson made this offense look different for the Steelers. So, Danny Dimes' offensive line is beat up. You're going to have Porter Jr. shadowing Malik Neighbors. He's the number 1 shadow corner in the NFL. Absolutely dominant. And this is just going to be one of those turn it off Monday Night Football games that I don't even think is going to be close at all. Heading over to the Steelers side here. So Russell Wilson, I want to put him as a smash green play here. The matchup is not bad at all in any single way, but there's a different way to look at it than I look at it here. So when you look at the New York Giants, right? So if you look at their defense on the season, the Giants ranked 25th versus the quarterback, giving up 18.1 points. They ranked 26th on the season. In the red zone, they stingy up. They ranked 13th, and they give up 208 pass yards, which is middle of the pack. But when your offense can't move the ball, you're playing I'd say the top 3 defense. I'd put the Bears, the Steelers, and the Broncos as my top 3 defenses on the year. They're not going to have much movement here, and this is why I don't have Russell as a smash play. Yeah, he could beat his projection because his projection is still very low on most apps. I haven't really updated it yet. But I think this is going to be a Najee, Jalen Warren game, kind of like the Lions game, right? It's just going to be the Steelers get up, they pound the run, the defense eats them up. The defense will probably score a touchdown in this game. I mean, it's just, I really want to say start Russ, but I don't think it's going to be an all-out Russ attack game here. I think this is going to be more of a, Najee 150 yards, Warren 50 yards, 21-3, 21-7, 28-7. It's going to be really, really ugly. I don't think they're going to need to pass much to keep up with this game because Danny Dimes, I think this is his last game, man. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Garrett Wilson are headed into Foxborough to take on the Patriots, guys. And I've been telling you, man, it's going to start clicking here with the Jets. I know it didn't look good in their first game. They lost last week, but there's no better get-right game than getting Drake May. I know that I've liked Drake May. I've had him on a smash start. I had him on a sleeper start in his first week. This is not going to be a good matchup for Drake May in this game. But on the Aaron Rodgers side, I'm going to ride him out here. I'm going to roll him green. I know he had a hamstring going on today. I think he's going to be fine there. Sorry, I got the hiccups. It's early in the morning, man. And when I'm looking at the New England Patriots defense, right? So the New England Patriots currently on the season, they give up 14.5 to the quarterback. That ranks 11th. They rank 16th on the season, 16th in the red zone, giving up 234 yards. But last time when Aaron Rodgers played him, what happened? Absolutely destroyed him. Didn't even have Devontae Adams. Garrett Wilson even beat Christian Gonzalez to the post. And Breece Hall is going to have a monster game here. And I think this is where the Jets start their run. And it is time to pick up Aaron Rodgers if he's on your waiver wire. I think it's crazy if he is. But if he is, go get this man. Now, Drake May, I've had him as a start the past 2 weeks. I'm not going to put him as a start versus the Jets, even though they're at home. And we could be seeing a shakeup at wide receiver here, hopefully as well, too. But I'll get to that here in a second. So the Jets rank 5th versus the quarterback, giving up 12.7 points, 7th on the season, 6th in the red zone. So pretty much a top 5 defense all the way around versus the quarterback. Passing yards, 183. That's bottom 5 in the NFL. So they're a nasty defense. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. Looks like Hassan's going to be out there as well from the practice reports today. So Drake May is going to be in for even more pressure. And I'm not saying sit him because I like the rushing upside. I like the chance of the volume that they can be playing from behind. I like that he's a rookie. He's not going to come out of the game no matter what. If you're down the stretch, you're down 20, 25. Those are extra points to be had, something to think about in fantasy football. I just don't like it as a smash start this week for the Jets for him. But I do want to see Javon Baker, my guy, my sleeper of the year, get out there with Demario Douglas. I think it's going to look a lot different. I never really bought into Jalen Polk, man. Here we go. The game of the week, baby. The Bengals are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. 3-4 Bengals on a little 2-game win streak here. Eagles 4-2. And this is going to be the shootout game here, guys. They have it at 47.5 over. I like this to be over 50 as an easy lock if I was a betting man here. And Jalen Hurts, remember, I tempered my expectations with him last week. He still got some tush pushes, still got in. Didn't have a lot of passing game. It was more the Saquon revenge game, which is, what everyone knew was going to be the Saquon revenge game. Now you get the Bengals here, guys. This is the Bengals' weak spot, is the quarterback. They rank 26, giving up 18.2, 27th on the season, 22nd in the red zone, 225 pass yards. And man, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all are going to eat in this game. Dallas Goedert, every single one of them. Because when you look at this as well here, so let's look at the wide receivers here. So the Bengals rank 15th versus the wide receiver, 19th in the red zone. But the Philadelphia Eagles front 7 is nasty versus the run, nasty versus the tight end position. Where is their weak spot? Their weak spot is versus the wide receiver, guys. So, I mean, here you have to see this right here. You wouldn't think that by looking at their defense, but they rank 19th on the season, giving up 33.4 points. They rank 27th in the red zone, so 5th worst, and they give up 140.4 yards. And if you can't run the ball, you're going to have to pass the ball. So I love everything in this game, all the starts except for the tight ends in this game. I mean, Goddard could be an okay play, but this is going to be an air attack to watch. I'm going to be glued to this game all the way. Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown are my wide receiver 2 and 3. Higgins and Devonta Smith are both in my top 20. This is going to be an absolute fun game to watch, man. The Green Bay Packers are headed into Duval County to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And my goodness, Jordan Love, if you've watched my other ranking videos, has a chance to be QB1 this week, guys. The Jacksonville Jaguars cannot stop anything. Anywhere. It doesn't matter what it is. Versus the quarterback, they rank 32nd, 24 points a game. 165 points to the quarterback position on the season. We're only in week 7, guys. They rank 28th in the red zone. They gave up 285 pass yards per game, which is 3rd worst in the NFL. Sorry, let me change that. Second worst in the NFL, just behind the Baltimore Ravens, which I talked about already. And then when you look at the wide receivers, Jacksonville ranks 29th versus the wide receiver. They give up 177 passing yards to the wide receiver. Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson probably hit a bomb in this game. Everyone eats against the Jaguars defense. This defense is absolutely depleted, and it's never been good all year long. It's not going to get any better from here. On to the T-Law side, this is an absolute sit for me for T-Law here. The Green Bay Packers, guys, look what they just did to C.J. Stroud. Look what they just did to Tank Dell. Look what they just did to Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. Absolutely locked him up. I know you have BTG out there. He's in for a rough one. He's going to draw Jair. And, man, this Packers defense takes the ball away, and they just rally to the ball. They rank 6th versus the quarterback, only giving up 13 points a game. Just held Stroud to 5. They give up the 9th most points on the year and 12th in the red zone. So it's about a top 7 to 8 defense all around, 225 pass yards they allow a game. So I don't like really much here from the Jags, even though I know they're finally out of London after 2 weeks being down there. They got a big win. I mean, you can call it a big win if you want. But this is a different beast. This is a playoff contending Super Bowl team. This is going to be Trevor Lawrence deer in the headlights. It's going to be really, really ugly out here, and I do not like him this week. I have him on a sit. Oh, man. The Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson, who I do not know what to do with in fantasy football right now, are headed in to take the Houston Texans on. Texans coming off that loss, of course, to, we just talked about Green Bay Packers last week, game-winning field goal by McManus coming off the bass fishing boat to hit the winner. That was nice to see. In this game, man, I'm not starting Anthony Richardson. It could be the most plus matchup in the world. Let's say they're playing the Baltimore Ravens or the Jacksonville Jaguars, whose defense are terrible. I still don't feel comfortable starting this guy. His accuracy, I saw a tweet. I wish I had the tweet. 2,000 quarterbacks were recorded in accuracy stat for the past 10 years. So you have to have a certain amount of pass attempts as well, right? So this isn't just like a quarterback that played one game, right? He ranks 1,999 out of 2,000 quarterbacks. That's second to last out of 2,000 in the past decade in accuracy rating. I mean, it's just bad. The bombs he can hit over the top, that's great. Anything under 10 to 20 yards, it looks like he's just a deer in the headlights lost. And I know he has the rushing upside, the superhuman ability. Guys, I had him as my quarterback 1 when the season started. Talk about your ultimate miss, right? Got to be transparent. Got to own the hits with the misses. And, man, and if I look at the Houston Texans, this is a plus matchup. They rank 23rd versus the quarterback, giving them 17.5 points a game, 25th on the season, 25th in the red zone, and 190 pass yards. But are we going to see any pass yards? I don't trust him, man. And I know some people have dropped him to the waiver wire. I'm okay with that right now. He's not rosterable. He's a headache. He's that quarterback, if you keep on your roster, you're like going to have that nightmare decision with, do I start him? Do I start him? Because the rushing upside. But he's not a good passer, guys. It's just official. Now, on to the Texans side here. CJ Stroud gets the Indianapolis Colts. Beautiful matchup for him to bounce back here. They give up 17.5 points per game. That ranks 22nd. They rank 24th on the season. And they rank 29th in the red zone with 236 pass yards a game. So they're about a bottom 10 pass defense. The Colts defense can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. It's like the Jags. Joe Mixon's going to have a day here too. And it's going to be a very nice bounce back game here for CJ Stroud. And man, again, with Anthony Richardson, if you want to drop him, I'm not against it at this point. It's gotten so bad. I'm okay with it. Last but not least, had to save my guy. The Miami Dolphins are hosting the Arizona Cardinals, and Tua Tagovailoa looks to be back, but we're going to start with Kyler Murray here first. Kyler Murray has just been struggling, guys. I know he got his projection last week. I know he rushed and saved his day, but it just hasn't been Kyler Murray. And you know Call of Duty's coming out, man, which you could say doesn't mean anything, but it still kind of does to me for some reason. So 64 yards rushing and a touchdown last week absolutely saved his fantasy day, right? So right there, you're looking at 12 points. Without that 12 points rushing, guys, he would have had 11.5 points passing in full PPR, right? 14 for 26, 145 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr. and him are not on the same page. It is not clicking. Trey McBride definitely is on the same page. Greg Dortch, the Dortchland, finally got a touchdown, which is good for my best ball. But you're going up against the Miami Dolphins defense here. The Miami Dolphins defense, guys, is number 1 versus the quarterback right now. So we are switching this from yellow to red. I'm sitting Kyler Murray midstream right now. They give up 8 points a game. They gave up 51 points on the season. They ranked number 1 in the red zone. This is the number 1 defense versus the quarterback on the season. 164 pass yards allowed. That is also number 1 in the NFL. And they lost Phillips, their superstar DN, and they're still holding quarterbacks. So not much to like here on the Arizona front in this game, especially on the road when West Coast teams travel East Coast early games. They really struggle as well too. I know people don't believe that, but it is a fact, man. Now, Tua is back. They brought the perfect time for him to come back. You get the Arizona Cardinals. Every single Dolphin is going to explode in this game. The Dolphins versus the quarterback, or the Cardinals versus the quarterback, give up 18.5 points per game. That ranks 27th. They rank 28th in total points on the season versus the quarterback. They rank 22nd in the red zone versus the quarterback, giving up 225 pass yards, which is bottom 10. And dude, they can't stop the wide receiver. They can't stop the tight end. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals defense is just bad, guys. So you're going to get Tua back, Tyreek back smoking, Jalen Waddle going full throttle, A-King going off. I love the Dolphins this week. I'm taking all the props over that I can. I'm taking them to win this game by a long shot. And this is kind of why I'll get to James Conner later in the running back video, but this is kind of why I'm staying away from James Conner this week. And I'll break that down in my running back video coming next, guys. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my week 8 stardom, sit-em quarterbacks, every single matchup, guys, with some defense statistics to help you out there as well. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. It helps me out more than you guys would know. I'm trying to bring you the best fantasy football content to help you guys win the championships this year, man. And if you guys can't make any of the live shows this weekend, you can always drop any comments you want down below in the questions. It does not have to pertain to this video. I try to get to them all. Tuesday and Wednesday are my grind episode days, so I'm just cranking it out today. So if I don't get to them, I will get to them by the end of the week or by tomorrow or by tonight. So don't worry about that. And again, guys, I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support, man. It's been absolutely amazing. And I will catch you in my next video, which is coming next, my stardom, sit-em running backs, guys.